Oh, hello and welcome everyone. We had a little mistake here. Welcome to our newest CATIA Systems Talk. And my name is Honorata Frings, and my today's guest and presenter is Reine Gros. Welcome, Reine. Reine is
Hello,
going, hi. Reine is going to give you an overview of an end-to-end traceability process, which will be illustrated on an aerospace and defense example. And after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask your questions in the chat. So, Reine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Norata. So let me introduce you end-to-end traceability. To do so, I will use the following scenario. So first, I will import stakeholder needs coming from outside the platform into 3D Experience platform. And next, I will use CATIA Magic to run an operational analysis. So I will use Data Hub to take back these stakeholder needs into CATIA Magic. And next, push back deduced system requirements into Enovia requirements. So once both stakeholder needs, analysis, operational analysis, and system requirements will be done, and in the platform, I will be able to run an end-to-end traceability from the needs to the VNV and also simulation tools and 3D parts. I will be able to manage impact analysis and do a collaborative review to analyze the content in depth of my traceability. I will also quickly get you an overview of VNV application, and next, finally, generate a deliverable, a report containing the traceability extracted from my end-to-end traceability. So my input data will be these stakeholder needs. So coming from DOORS, a DOORS module, you can see that there is a structure here with requirements, attributes, and parameters. And to import these requirements, I will use Rectify. Rectify is the best tool to capture external data. So indeed, Rectify has more than 100 connectors. And when a connector is available, Rectify is able to extract requirements, attributes, traceability from the legacy tool. Once extracted, Rectify is able to push them into Enovia requirement app. So an example of supported format is our Office, Word, Excel, PDF, DOORS, DOORS-NG, Polariant, and Rectify is also supporting RecIF formats. Rectify also support incremental import into Enovia requirements, meaning that if the source is modified, Rectify only pushed the change, the modification. And you can choose if you want to overwrite or just or revise the modified elements. So let's look into Enovia app, how our stakeholder needs are looking. So here you can see I have my structure. So these requirements are imported from DOORS into this specification structure. You can navigate into your data. You can see that you have rich text content. And in fact, you have also your attributes and your parameters. So here we have stakeholder needs into the platform. We are at this step here. We have used Rectify to import external data so as to be able to manage these requirements in lifecycle, in configuration into the platform, beneficiate of all the service of the 3D Experience platform, and also manage traceability. Now, we are using Data Hub to push these stakeholder needs into CATIA Magic. We are doing operational analysis into CATIA Magic. It is not part of this demonstration. It has already been demonstrated during last session by Aiste. And we are using Data Hub to take system requirements back into the platform. So now let's look into our Enovia requirement structure. So we can see we have the system requirement. We can also navigate into this Enovia requirement, system requirement, so with some nice graphics, pictures, and so on. And we can see that, in fact, through Data Hub, we have also imported the traceability between stakeholder needs and system requirements. So let's analyze in globality this traceability. So here we are in System Synthesis app, traceability app. We are working into a scope of work. And in fact, we have added documents into our scope. So here we have the stakeholder needs. So I can navigate into my documents, get a preview of my documents. I have also added my diagram from CATIA Magic, the operational analysis diagram. So here I can preview my CATIA Magic diagram. I have my logical architecture, and I can also navigate into my Simulink model. So here, for example, I can navigate directly into my model. And I can do that without any Simulink model. So you can see that I have also defined some channels. So channels are a way to define that this system requirement is supposed to cover stakeholder needs. So traceability is extracted natively when elements where documents are in the platform, so for system specific requirement specification, functional, logical, physical, and for the other elements, when the elements are coming from outside the platform, we need a link set to store, to save the traceability links. So they are saved here. So let's now analyze the traceability. So when I switch to traceability, I can see my ratios for each document. And I can enter into a detailed traceability when I just click onto my bullet. So here I am centered on stakeholder needs, and in structure view, I see direct upstream and downstream coverage. When I select an element, I can see my description on the bottom, and the impact path is highlighted. I can navigate into my documents. So here now I'm centered on system requirements. I see upstream, downstream impact of system requirements. I can switch from structured, so one level up, one level down, to impact view. And at this level, I see all the impact of system requirements. I can change my focus to go to stakeholder needs. And here I see all my impact of stakeholder needs. Here again, I can see my description, but you can see that when it is, I select a model, an element, a graphical model, I have no description. So for this case, we are able to synchronize two widgets so as to get the selection in context of the document. So here, if I select filtering, you can see that the corresponding block is selected for Simulink. I can do the same for CATIA Magic. So here I can select element from my diagram and see it directly in context of my document. And for 3D part, I can do the same. So here, for example, I can see the impact of my selection. So here you can see my part is highlighted. So at the end, I can select a part, and if I need to modify something in this part, I can just double-click on it to get only the path of impact of this specific part. And so upstream impact, and on the opposite, if I select just a requirement, needs, so if this specific need is modified, I can see that at the end, this will be the part which will be modified, and I can see all the diagrams, simulations, and verification which has to be modified, or at least for which you need to get a look. So you have seen here a graphical way to analyze the traceability. But you can also manage impact traceability into a table. So here I have already defined some table view where you define the elements for which you want to analyze the traceability. So here, for example, I have stakeholder needs system and my specification. And I have for each needs a line containing all the impact of this specific need. If I change my layout for impact, for example, I will now get a line for each impact, so meaning the same needs, but an impact per line. I can extract this view into an Excel spreadsheet. So depending on your layout, you will get the corresponding layout in Excel. So here I chose coverage view. So here you can see that I have a line for each requirement, each needs in my Excel spreadsheet. So I have also prepared operational analysis table for which I analyze the CATIA Magic impact. So going from stakeholder needs through CATIA Magic models until system requirements. So here we are able to manage analyze the traceability. My traceability is quite established, so I may need to want to do a review so as to comment, to analyze in depth this traceability. So here I have already prepared a review. So a review is in fact some comments that you will be able to add into your traceability onto your models. So first of all, you need to add it into context. So you get this book. And thanks to the traceability, the review in context, you will be able to add here, for example, or maybe on specification, here, a comment. So here you can add a comment and you will see your comment directly onto your scope. Or you can also add comments in traceability view. So here you see already written comments, okay? And you can, for example, add a comment directly from the traceability. So from there, you are able to or modify your comment or reply your comment. And you can do the same from the table view. So here, for example, you can reply. So there is a missing test for this requirement. So, okay, I will add the test. And you can, if you want, directly from your remark, create an issue here. You will attach to this issue your review so as to enter into a process of change. Okay, so I will not create it, but in fact, I have already created here some issues associated to my review so as to manage this in context of my review. And you can see that I can also here synchronize my view with my review with the diagram and the comment in context. So when I select here an element, a review, a comment, I can see it in context of my scope. And I can here answer to my needs. From a review, I can also create a task, assign it to a person, people, and then send the review so as for him to be able to load the review and answer to the needs and correct if there is a need. So here I have asked to add a link to my requirements. So I can go to VNV application. So here you can see that there is a verification specification, which is associated to system requirements. And for a specific system verification specification, I can attach test case. A test case is a way to describe the test to be run. Here, I can attach requirements, and I can choose my requirements from the specification associated to my verification specification. Under test cases, there is test execution. So when I run a test case, a test execution with simulation and so on, and I can attach a status to my test execution. Another way to attach requirement to a test case is this table view. So here you can see your test case, your requirement, and you can create here very quickly a link between my test case and my requirements. What is also nice with VNV application is that you can attach a project to your test specification, and in fact, your test execution are corresponding to tasks so that you can organize, plan your test execution with predecessor, following tasks, assign users, and progression on your test execution. So let's go back to traceability. Here I have just created a new traceability. So I just refresh my scope, and here I will see my ratio increasing, taking into account my new link between my test case and my system requirement. So here you can see that now I am reaching 100% coverage here between my requirements. So at this step, I have created my traceability is quite established. So I want to now generate a report. And to do so, I can use report generator. To generate a report, there is two roles. Report templates. So in a template, you define what is your input data. So in fact, we can generate reports on quite every data which are in the platform. You explain also how you navigate into the data. So from a requirement spec, I want to go through the chapters, go through the requirements. And from the requirement, I want to display them into a table, in bullet list, into a paragraph. And next, when you have defined your template, you can also, with report generator role, create report output format. So output format can be Word, Excel, PDF, HTML, XML. In a Word output format, for example, you can define your header, footer, front page, your styles, and so on. So a report is built from a template with an output format. You choose your 3D experience data. You generate your report to get a report. You can choose the same template with another output format with other data so as to get another report. So let's look into report apps. So here I have defined, get big zoom, already defined some reports. So here I can generate it. If I look into the detail, I can see that my template is TRA report using CATIA talk output format and using my scope as input. So here my report is running. And once it's finished, I have a green icon. I can download it here. And if I look at my report here, I can see, I can see my dedicated header, name of my scope, my front page with a picture, here extracted information, so my last generation just now, who has generated it, and next the content, so here content my scope. I have also extracted content of my documents, so my requirement spec, and my CATIA magic model, my Simulink model, test specification, logical architecture, and I can extract traceability information for each document, coverage ratio, covering ratios, and traceability pictures, and for each document for each requirement is covered by and is covering information. So here is my report, and at the end, I have also added a dedicated logo. So here is an example of report. I have generated, using the same template, another report into HTML. So if I look at it, I can see here my document. So the same information, but in HTML, because my customer, my colleagues want HTML format. And here, I can navigate, if I have the right role, into Enovia, into CATIA template report. So here you can see that I've choose my input data. I can choose what is the structure of to display my data. I can navigate into my data. And here I organize my content through this graphical interface. So this is for report generation. So at this stage, I have finished my demonstration. So just some takeaways. Here, remember that, in fact, from 3D Experience platform, we are able to manage requirement engineering and V&V. We have a better collaboration through system traceability between different teams internally, but also with other teams and other tools. We are able to reuse data, mainly through normal reuse, but also with 130% approach configuration. We are able to manage end-to-end traceability and generate deliverables associated to project milestones. And of course, this can be linked to other domains such as MBSE, MBD, and configuration management. So we can go to Q&A session.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Reine. So I would like to open the Q&A session now. We have received the first question already, which I will show now. So that's one for you, Reine. Is the 4-pillar magic grid a way to demonstrate traceability or just chosen by you?
Oh, it's just chosen by me, but in fact, you can apply all process, adapt the process to your needs as you want. So here it's, yes, really dedicated to this specific demonstration.
Okay, thanks a lot. We have some more questions. Is it possible to manage version of document in a scope?
Yes, if you receive a new, of course, if you manage objects, so if you revisit object in the platform, this requirement specification, object in the platform, you just need to select the new revision into the scope. If you are managing external data like Simulink, you need to associate the links, but it's done through a specific process and it's automatic, so there is no problem.
Very good. I have collected some more up front. So another question, what is the difference between generating a traceability table from traceability tool and report generator?
In fact, in the traceability tool, the table you can use is there just to generate traceability information from the scope. With report generation, and you can generate it extract it only in Excel. I would say it's more working tables to analyze the content of your traceability. Report generation can be here you get an example on traceability information, extracting traceability information, but it can be more larger, like generating reports on project management, on deliver specification for customer, for the suppliers, can be also done through Dalmia models and so on. So report generation is more for deliverables and can be applied really on all 3D Experience platform data.
Perfect, thanks. And one last question that I had up front, is Rectify a dedicated migration tool to 3D Experience platform?
No, Rectify is not really a migration tool. Rectify is a traceability tool, standalone traceability tool, but as it is able to extract through the connectors many traceability requirement information, we can use it as a way to migrate to the 3D experience platform. But at the beginning, Rectify is really a traceability tool, standalone traceability tool.
Very good. I think that's it so far. If you have any more questions, you can ask them in our community, which you can find right here. You can visit at any time, ask questions. There is the post with the live talk from today, and you can ask directly questions to Reine. Or if you want, you can also just post your questions that you might have on MBSE or other topics. And before we end this talk, I would like to share an info with you. We have our Cyber Experience Symposium coming up in May in Allen, Texas, which provides you with a lot of information about MBSE. It's a five days event with plenary sessions, with trainings, all kinds of things that you can ever imagine to dive deep into MBSE. So I invite you to register for this event. You will find the link to the registration page in the post. So I thank you a lot for your attention, and I hope to see you soon in the next CATIA talk next month. Goodbye.
Bye.